Nerds and geeks, I hope you are ready for an all-star edition of the legendary Saturday nights of the Nerd-O-Roundtable. Your truly King Magnificent Koala Sharp in the building. Ryan Twitchmaster McBain, what it do, good sir?
How about old Foggy? He got life.
I'm doing good, my man.
Anthony from Two Cubicles Down.
Oh, all is good right now for me, you guys.
The one and only Mo Kelly.
Well, it's me, hot tape. I'm on the intro. We're going to freak this show for you. All right.
I don't know how he's going to follow it up, but we have Tom is talking Cunningham.
You know, because I'm on the right side of the calendar in 1911, I don't have to do all those histrionics. We're just happy to be first on the calendar. That's all. I don't need to worry about any of that hoppaging and the neck rollery and all of that. We're good.
Damn it. Today we are joined by special guest, my man 50 Grand, Quasi. I go back with Quasi all the way to the days of the beat. Now Quasi is upstairs at iHeartRadio doing all things production and imaging. Quasi is a long time, and when I say long time, I mean long time nerd, lifetime martial arts practitioner, and it is only right that we have him join us because he just happens to have the time. Quasi, what up, baby?
What's up, bro? That's my guy, T-Sharp. What's going on, fellas? And yes,
Hey,
I'm
man.
also part of the right side of the 1911 clan, so there we go.
Oh, snap.
Still love you, Mono.
Fired.
You all right? I got a
Fired.
couple friends that are noobs. I don't know why. I got one uncle that's Q. But you know,
Oh, shots
Now you're
fired.
surrounded, Mo.
right.
And last but not least, my brother, Mark Ronner, writer extraordinaire, reporter galore, and anchor for Later with Mo Kelly. Mark, what did you do, good sir?
I'm glad to be here. I cannot match Mo's energy. Also, I demand that Mo undergo a drug test promptly.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's on his own natural high.
The natural high must be cocaine.
That
It's
is
a hell of a drug.
that is fraternal love that I see Mo showing over there.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Mo, what are you eating? I need to know what you're eating, Mo.
Cereal?
No, it's called Sarku. It's Japanese food from the Lama Mall in Torrance.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
All
from
right.
Del Amo. Okay.
We bring it all. I think Dr. Liz from the Freeway is going to be joining us soon enough, but y'all have been waiting for this conversation for far too long, and it's only right that we give it to you now. Today, we are talking about two massive entries into the Nerdverse. One, Thunderbolts. Two, Andor. We shall begin with Thunderbolts. I myself saw Thunderbolts, and I walked out of Thunderbolts saying, Thunderbolts is not going to win any Oscars, but damn it, I had a good-ass time watching it. They gave me every single thing I needed to see on the big screen. Action, heart, great story, continuation for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, foreshadowing and letting us know where it was going to go. I even clapped at a couple scenes. I laughed heartily. I had no issues with it. There are some in this chat who are out of their effing mind with their hate and disdain for it. Looking at you, Tom Cunningham, and we will get to Cunningham's opinion shortly. First, though, Ryan Twitchmaster Dudane, you actually saw it recently. You're like, I think, the most recent person to see it, so you're fresh on your take
Yes.
on it.
I am fresh. I didn't hate the movie at all. I was entertained from beginning to end. Is it great? No, but it's very, very good. The best thing that this movie does, it gives us a path. It tells us where we're headed. I like the connection to the Disney Plus shows. I like the fact that they brought back Ghost, because we haven't seen Ghost since Ant-Man 2. I like the fact that they brought back Taskmaster so she can get capped in the head. That was when I saw that, I clapped. I was very, very happy for that. I loved Walker. Walker was just an asshole, and he was just a funny asshole. Also, Bucky. I love Bucky's story arc. Okay, he went from the Winter Soldier, someone who killed the president, to now being like the moral compass of the team. That's a good ass story arc. there wasn't a point in the movie when I was saying, okay, this needs to get picked up. Come on, this is too slow. No, I just was thoroughly enjoyed the movie from beginning to end. I like Century. His origin story is a little bit different, but I get that. I understand that because you couldn't do comic book accurate origin story because of what happened in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah,
I get that. I was just I liked it. It wasn't great or anything. It wasn't like I wouldn't put it in my top 5 best Marvel movies. No, but it was good. I walked out going, yeah, okay. I see where you're going, and I'm here for the ride.
Right on. Anthony, have you seen Thunderbolts, aka the New Avengers yet?
Of course. Look at it.
Excellent.
It's not a bad movie. You got the feels. You get to deal with the emotional trauma that they're all going through. Couple things, obviously I would have enjoyed a little bit more cameos, dive a little bit deeper into maybe Elena, get a little Scarlet Witch thrown in there. No problem with it. Gonna maybe a little controversial. I'm kind of glad they went with Louis Pullman and not Steven Yeun.
Yeah.
That would have been maybe a little bit more controversial to go with him for.
No, it would have been whack. I'm sorry, it would have just been whack.
Probably would not have worked. Pacing was great, acting was great. Walker is a ginormous piece of shit, but he was willing to clap Val in the head and just he was being real the entire movie. He's doing what anybody would have done. I'm just gonna put a bullet in them and be done with this thing right here, right now. So all their character development was great across the entire arc of the film. No issues with it at all.
I agree with both of those takes. I wholeheartedly, absolutely agree. I cannot say it any differently, which is why I don't understand why Tom treated it like it was an absolute dumpster fire.
Okay, first of all, let me just say, I didn't say it was a dumpster fire. I said it fell apart in the third act. I thought the first 2 acts, I agree. The character development was nice seeing Yelena have some vulnerability. I think she kind of tipped the whole show of, so none of us fly. We just punch and shoot. That was what it was. And that was a weakness to me because although it did have the feel of like a James Gunn kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of just a ragtag group of characters with no powers, somebody else in another video said James Gunn's Suicide Squad would wipe the floor with these dudes because they're all the same dude. You had 4 super soldiers, technically 3 super soldiers, plus a widow who was basically a super soldier. And then you had Taskmaster, who was also a super soldier, as long as she was alive. And then you had Ghost, who actually did have powers, but she could only use her powers for the maximum of a minute at a time. And so, except for killing Taskmaster, they weren't that, and helping them escape, they weren't that, her powers weren't that integral. And then you have Sentry, who is so OP that he can't even make another appearance in the MCU unless he's super nerfed, because we already saw that he can't handle the Void. He said even at the end, in the end credits, that he can't risk the Void coming out. So now you introduce the heretofore the strongest physical character, literally the MCU Superman, in a way that Thor was not. And you can't ever use him again. So
for now,
I mean, he'll be in Doomsday and Secret Wars probably. But the point is that until you nerf him so that he can't beat everybody in the MCU almost instantaneously, he's not going to be Sentry anymore. So you got this guy who looked badass. That scene before the third act fell to pieces, that scene where he was basically Henry Cavill in a gold suit, I was here for it. I was like, that's pretty impressive. That's Sentry. That was pretty cool. And then we went into 20 minutes of group therapy, and I was just like, oh, and there's no consequences because everybody that the Void voided is
the
now
shame
back.
rooms.
it was just, and
Tom, I think you need to get with some emotional healing. You're not healed, Tom.
No. I've been in group therapy before. I'm saying, as a movie, as an MCU movie, right? Yeah. This was supposed to be the rebound flick from the quote unquote underperformance of Brave New World. I enjoyed the story, even if I wasn't totally satisfied with how the third act resolved in Brave New World. I enjoyed the story more. I enjoyed the Isaiah Bradley stuff. I enjoyed his stuff with Torres and all of that other sort of stuff. I enjoyed seeing Sabra, even though they didn't call her Sabra. I enjoyed seeing her on screen.
You can barely see her.
Well, that's true. She's apparently not much taller than Anthony's girlfriend. So it just was not as satisfying in the way that Deadpool. I was like, Deadpool brought us back. This is a freaking Marvel movie. Deadpool and Wolverine was the shit. And then you had Brave New World, which was a letdown. You had Thunderbolts, which was basically Black Widow 2. And you're setting the stage for Fantastic Four blatantly, obviously. And I don't know if Fantastic Four is going to bring us back into Doomsday. It's like now, let's go to Doomsday. Because I know Doomsday is going to be satisfying.
Well, yeah, I mean, two things real quick. When it comes to Sentry, it was my understanding that he can be Sentry, but he just can't use his powers too much or go crazy, or the Void will come in. That was my understanding. And two, I don't really care who can beat who. So let's say like Suicide Squad would wipe these guys. Fine, whatever. I don't care. Just tell me a good story. I don't care who can beat who.
No, it was, like I said, first 2 acts, fine. I was engaged. I was enjoying it. I thought it was a good mix of laughs. I liked the way the characters were interacting. But once the focus turned into that little adjunct assistant who ended up turning Sentry into the Void, I was like, seriously?
My favorite part, and this is probably going to be a shock to you guys, my favorite part of the third act, when they're in quote-unquote group therapy, when Bob is fighting the Void and punching him, and they're all pinned down, Bucky turns to Yelena and goes, this isn't right. And that hit me when I was saying to myself, wow, this dude's the fucking moral compass. I don't know why that spoke to me so much. I just love that part of the movie.
No, and that part was a standout portion, which actually informed how they ended that film and how they said what they need to do to solve that issue. And I think for me, I mean, maybe going into it and being willing to accept that this is the Void, the story of the Void that they're going to give us in this film. There's no real way they could have done a story about the Sentry the way they did it in the comic. There's literally no way possible. And to do it like this, to set up a character where in the back of your mind, for a fact, if this dude ever gets out of control, it's going to be a problem for everybody. How they go about releasing the Void, how they go about bringing the Void back and making him a contender for Doomsday and Secret War is going to be the story that is to be told. I love that this story took the baton from Brave New World and said, got it, thanks, we know where you're going, we're going to take that, we're going to pick up just weeks after the events of Brave New World, and we're going with this story here, and we're off and running. And they are back to a more cohesive start to a new storyline. It's we keep asking for connected stories, and then now we get a connected story, and it's like, well, I don't know if I like the connection. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with nerddom, where we get what we're asking for, and then we're still thumbing our nose. That's like, we don't deserve good shit. Mo, your take.
I'm going to defer to Quasi. He and I are on the same page. So Quasi, explain to them what's wrong.
So Quasi, come and get some, good sir.
Okay.
I love Quasi's breakdowns.
Oh, well, listen, I don't have that much of a breakdown on this because I enjoyed the movie. I will say, like, I'm on like kind of an equal level with the movie. Is like, was it better than Brave New World to me? Story wise, absolutely yes. Could it have used a little more action? Absolutely. I was surprised that they took Taskmaster out, but I think that was the point. You wanted to make sure that, you wanted there to be some kind of thing where, people could go out at any time, anyone can get it.
But that's also fan service. That was
it was fine. It was fine for me. Yeah. It was a very human story. I like the story side, and I get that people get like the Void. It's like group therapy. You got to go through that. And from what I heard, they had their original take was going to be a whole lot longer than that. So thank God we only got 20 minutes versus an hour and 20 minutes of everybody being in their own rooms, going through their own, traumas when they were kids or whatever. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I thought Bucky was a little underused, but it's okay. Really? I think moving forward, a little bit. I mean, because he's a congressman, and I'm kind of like, all right, I get it. We carry that over, but why?
The Terminator scene was fantastic, though.
I mean, I'm not knocking, but I wanted more Winter Soldier. I really wanted more Winter Soldier. That's what I'm saying. He's a little underused. That's my point. When he's on the screen, he's great. But to me, this was more like the human kind of storytelling. People do legitimately go through depression and all this kind of crap. You don't really discuss that in movies. I really kind of honed in on the story a lot on this one. I was really surprised when I left the theater, like, I was actually digging it. And my my kind of barometer on this, or kind of like gauge on this, is I took my fiance with me to see the movie, and she's not into any of this comic book lore at all. Right. But if she turns to me and goes, "This is a pretty good movie," and she did, I was like, yeah, I felt the same way. So for someone that's just a regular person that doesn't have any investment in it, to say it was pretty good, I'm like, all right, I think we're on the same page. All in all, I like the movie, but I get people's gripes with it as far as it being a little boring and the pacing. There's some issues at time to time, and I love the Louis Dreyfus character. I'm sorry, I keep messing up her name. Valentina. I freaking loved her. I've loved her, like all through her stint in Marvel. Like, I think she's she's an amazing foil for these guys. So
I think all that is fair. I think that one thing that Marvel did with this film, and I know a lot of it is us. I know a lot of our expectations going into something branded MCU is, $1 billion box office blockbuster. And that's kind of, unfortunately, what Marvel trained its audience to go into. It trained us to go into saying we need something that's over the top and huge, versus saying, hey, remember when we first started all this? Before we got to the first Avengers film, we gave you Iron Man, which a lot of people are like, yeah, this is cool. We gave you Thor. A lot of people said, oh, this is cool. We gave you Captain America. Some people are like, it's all right. I'm not really a super fan. And then we gave you Avengers. You said, oh, shit. All these people together? Yeah, this is the biggest thing in the world. But sometimes story building and sometimes filmmaking, there has to be a process. You have to bring people along with the story that you're trying to tell. And if you think about it, this is doing a successful job from having a connection to what came before, with all the phases before Deadpool and Wolverine, and then trying to bridge a brand new story, a story starting with, what do we need to do? First story, Captain America, Brave New World. We need to restart the Avengers. Got it. That's the point of that film. Cap, you're the one. We need you to restart the Avengers. We're going somewhere now. Okay, we're moving to another level. This film here is like, hey, man, there are big things happening in the world. There are bigger things happening in the world, and we already know from everything Val's been doing, she's been a mover and shaker behind the scenes, from the Hawkeye series, from Wakanda Forever, all these little things. She has been constantly manipulating and plotting. So the payoff of her coming through, and I know it happened. Like, wait a minute. How the fuck was the press? I know that, like, Mo was like, that's bullshit with the press there, ready to have a press conference. I get it, but do you want another 15 more minutes with her trying to get them together doing a press thing, or do you just want to just jump to, hey, I just said a minute ago the press were downstairs and they were ready to interview the Sentry, who was going to take down, there was a fight that was already going to happen. There was already going to be a fight. She wanted the Sentry to take out this rogue team and then to go and do a press conference. She probably calculated for all types of bullshit to happen with that fight. So to me, the press being there ready to interview someone that was there to handle a calamity or bring in some rogues, not that much different, because, again, the writers even said no one knows how long that they were in the void. We know watching it as film goers, but it's not something that happened over days and weeks and months. For all you know, he said, for you watching, that was like a snap, and you can tell how quick it was when that's why we showed the little girl in the end. When it came out, she was unaware of anything that happened. She was looking for her mom, which shows you that the passage of time that happened could have been instantaneous. All people saw was this team of individuals fighting against the being in the sky, and that being was taken out, and now bringing them in front of the press, and I got a brand new Avengers. Even the Russos came through and said, hey, we need to connect this to Fantastic Four. Let us shoot an end credit scene that we can include in Doomsday. That scene we saw was straight out of Doomsday. That is not like some random end credit scene.
I think it was Doomsday or a Fantastic Four.
No, that was on the side of Doomsday.
That scene is from Doomsday. That scene, that end credit scene of them seeing the Fantastic Four ship come through, that scene is the first scene that we're going to see in Doomsday. They're like, we've shot that film so that you guys can know how we're kicking off Doomsday, how the Doomsday story starts.
Hey, Twa.
Yes.
Mark Ronner disagrees with you.
I know he does. And I know, and I'm waiting to bring Mark in because
I'm swapping Mark and Quasi because Mark is on the right team.
Oh shoot!
Really? I like this Brady Bunch arrangement we have here.
I love it.
But there'll be no singing. I agree with whoever said that they came out of it wanting more Bucky. The first thing I thought of when the movie was over was, I want a Bucky solo movie now. And I had been really looking forward to Thunderbolts, and it didn't disappoint. I'm hearing a lot of kind of damning with faint praise. Like, I didn't hate it. It wasn't bad. I would easily put it in the top half of the Marvel movies, maybe the top third. That there's no way it's among the best, but it's not even close to one of the worst.
Yes.
But I also agree with, I think, Tom, who said the third act really shat the bed for a couple reasons. Number one, if nobody in the production had seen Star Trek V, I would be shocked, because this business of taking everybody back to their moment of life-shaping trauma and guilt. Somebody needs to be sued for plagiarism for that. And
you're not wrong.
To be fair, that's a Flatliners thing too. So, I don't know.
Sorry, what?
Just saying that, to be fair, that's a Flatliners plot also. Just saying.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I haven't seen that since it came out. I have no retention of that at all. But the big group hug that solved the climactic battle kind of left me sitting there thinking, Jesus Christ, what am I watching? Everything up to that point I was into, and I thought,
like, heartless bastards.
Bucky had the coolest entrance of probably any of the Marvel films on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Although that wasn't his first entrance, but in character.
Yeah.
That was dope though. That was amazing.
They totally took that from Terminator 2 though. They ripped that shit off.
Yeah.
It worked for me.
It made me want more Bucky.
No, it was great. I loved it. I'm just saying.
For me, I think the most shocking thing that I walked out of with this film was that Marvel returned to trying to tell stories about characters. They said it's important that we tell stories about these characters because these characters are going to be major players in the future. We don't want to tell a 3-hour film about where we have to do character development and action. Let's give you a story right now. We know what you guys want. We're going to give you some action, and we're going to give you a story that continues the Marvel. We're going to take the stories that we've been telling, and we're going to push them along to the next thing. We got it. We know what we have to do, but these characters are going to be major players. And for me, a character like Ghost, seeing Ghost come back, a character that I really, really liked in Ant-Man 2, and I wanted to know more about Ghost. Seeing Ghost in this film, I was like, wow, this is a great return for Ghost. Seeing Captain Cuck in this film and the turnaround for me that U.S. agent had in this film. I mean, I went from like, man, F this dude to, man, I'm effing with this dude. And that's a tough turn because I really didn't like him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And they made it that way. It's like U.S. agent as a comic book character is not a liked character.
No,
he is an asshole. He is a piece of shit. And I'm like, yo, they found someone to be that character straight up. And I thought that was beautiful.
To that point, the scene where they find out that his wife left them and took the kid, and the look that Yelena gave Walker, she's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, and the look he gave her was kind of like,
well, shit happens, man.
Like to me, it's like that level of care to say like why these characters are where they're at in their life. To me, I actually was feeling when Elena went to go talk to Red Guardian and she was trying to open up, and he was like, yo, I'd give my left arm to do what you're doing. And she's like, yo, man, you're not hearing me, man. I'm trying to have a real conversation with you. I'm trying to really open up. And he's like, just being a dick. And I'm like, I think that all of that worked for me in making this film about characters that I care about. And to me, it's so interesting. When I first watched it, I thought about something that Mo Kelly does in interviews. This is something that Mo Kelly does better than anyone else I've ever seen do an interview. He makes you care about the person that he's talking to way before he gets to why they are on the show. Why? Because if you do not care about the person that he's talking to, you don't care about what it is that they're pitching, whether it be a movie, a concert, a book. It doesn't matter if you don't care about who they are. And he takes great takes pains to make sure he draws out everything you can know about this person, and then says, okay, so in our next segment, we're going to talk about why you're here. But first, let's spend a good 20 minutes like building this person up. That's what this film did for me. I said to myself, man, dude, you are really taking some time to build up a film about characters that arguably most people don't know about. Most people don't know or care about these bad guys. These weren't epic world-ending bad guys in their respective properties. They took a bunch of bad guys that arguably most Marvel fans don't remember, don't care about. These aren't the A-list bad guys. These are a bunch of folks that you're like, now what were they in again? Put them in a movie and had the nerve to try to make this a blockbuster release. They say, you know what? We're going to put this out, and we know people may not remember, people may not care about the guy, but we're going to make you care. And they shot it for less than they did for most of their films. This was like, I think, 180 million all in. Production, marketing, promotion, all that. So I'm like, yo.
It wasn't 180 with P&L. It was, I heard that the budget was about 100 million less than Brave New World, because Brave New World had all the reshoots and shit. But you never get those. You never get those.
I mean, you might like I said. I'm talking about what they're professing is that it was 180 million. So
yeah, but that's not all in.
Hey, look, take that up with Marvel. Take that up with Marvel.
They
Now, Tom, you may want to reshuffle the list again, because we have quite possibly the only true unadulterated 100% hater of all things Thunderbolts, and that is Dr. Liz from the Freeway. Dr. Liz absolutely hated this film. She said, I hate this film. This film can burn. This film cannot wipe my ass. This film is so trash.
I don't know if she said all that, but I don't know.
Dr.
Liz, I did not say all that. I did not say all that. But
with your Cowboy Carter greatness, I see you rocking your Cowboy Carter look. Now, why did you dislike this film so much?
With my Cowboy Carter.
Oh, and the cup.
Oh, she got a little sippy cup too.
Here's the thing.
In the house.
The last half of the movie, I didn't mind the first two acts. The last one killed it. All you needed was a hug.
It's the greatest superpower. It's the greatest superpower out there.
Hey, you know he's crazy, right? There's a reason for that.
So
hey, look, how many brothers need a hug? How many brothers can actually say, like, you know, you're going through some shit, you couldn't use a hug? What are we saying? We don't need hugs no more?
The dude's a meth head, man. No. He's crazy. He needed something.
I don't care about the hug. I was over it. And what it really reminded me was actually what really kind of got me too is it felt like this was a copycat off of a few things. Number one, it felt a little bit like Across the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales with the guy the villain in that one. I felt
Spider-Man
like
2099.
Yeah, I felt that was a problem for me. Combine that with the ending with the hug part, it was so anticlimactic. And combine all of that with we're in New York. Half of New York is disappearing supposedly, and no one cares.
It didn't take place that long.
Yeah, okay. Now, I mean,
they weren't in New York for that long.
I do not care. I do not understand.
Look,
and we all know.
Get there, Daredevil could get there. If the press could get there, some of the other
the press were literally already there. The press were downstairs when it happened, Mo. I keep telling you that. The press conference where she said when she was upstairs, the press are downstairs waiting right now for me to introduce the brand new.
This woman was in Wakanda forever. This woman was in Wakanda forever.
Mm-hmm.
This woman was in, and then we had they were already in cross-reference things. So you mean Ross couldn't fly? Ross isn't around.
Ross is gone.
The reason why
Everett
I'm
Ross?
saying this. The reason why I'm saying this is because her ex-husband.
Yeah, Everett.
Yeah, he's in Wakanda.
Yes.
He's in Wakanda.
But if you're having a film where this woman is already on the map all over the place in all of these different corners, and then clearly you're going to have these, which I'm okay with the people that's showing up. I'm fine with the stragglers, but the fact that we still are having they're picked from all over. Ghost, I can get that because because Ant-Man is whatever. But to know that there are people that are completely still interconnected here, and she's under this large investigation, I just find it very, very odd that there's no major folks that shows up.
Okay, now I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because everyone is under the assumption, one, that this happened within the span of time for anyone major to show up. Okay, so that's one. That's incorrect.
I'm not.
No.
I'm
not talking about you. I'm just talking about. This is something that I hear large amounts. That's why I'm glad that I get the opportunity to address this. Okay, one, Thor was off planet. Thor's in a whole other galaxy.
I'm not even thinking about
his daughter. Doctor Strange is not on planet Earth. Last time we saw Doctor Strange, he went into the dark dimension with Clea. He has not returned from that we know. So Doctor Strange is not there. Spider-Man is across the bridge. Spider-Man is, and not only that, this is not a Spider-Man that has his Tony Stark suit. Why is he taking the train? Damn it. He's not taking the train. He don't even know what's going on. You know why? Because Spider-Man is back to just, I'm living in an apartment. It's just me and I'm home making my web fluid. I have no Tony Stark. I have no nothing. He's not about to swing across the bridge to go and see what's happening. He's not. I'm sorry. It takes too long. The shit ain't happening. And that's not happening, right? There is no one that could have come. No one. Hawkeye is in Connecticut with his family. Black Widow is dead. Who's coming? Who's coming from the
Ms. Marvel?
Miss Marvel was in California. Miss Marvel was in California. And we know Miles Morales doesn't exist in this world.
Continuity.
Miles Morales does not exist in this world.
Miles Morales.
So okay, that's
Miles is not in continuity.
No, that's crazy shit out of left field.
There was no reason for any of the current street level MCU whatever characters to try to come just because we don't know if the trains were running. If you've been in New York, it's not like it just takes 2 minutes. The stuff started happening, and over the span of 5 minutes, people started turning into clouds, and then we were in the fantasy group therapy world, which has no sense of time because it was an eternal whatever, and then they just popped back out, and boom. So all you saw was rubble.
You can't get Captain America. So, but Bucky can show up in Captain America.
Don't forget. At any point in time,
Captain America can't show up in with Bucky.
No,
is what I'm.
At any point in time,
why would he have shown up?
He's not in New York.
Captain America may be in fucking DC.
Yeah, he's their best friend.
Well, you're forgetting the biggest thing. If that black shadow touched you, you automatically went into the shadow void.
You were gone.
You were gone. So Spider-Man web slinging across the building.
I explained to my daughter. My daughter was like, "How could Spider-Man come?" I said, "As soon as he would have touched base in Manhattan, if he would have come across from Brooklyn, he's gone." And you know who? The only people who knew what was happening, the only people who had any idea of how to deal with it, were the people who had directly had contact with Sentry. So any hero, Daredevil, anyone else that would have walked into the car, they'd have been gone, and they would have been in their own little room. Matt Murdock would have been reliving his father's death the whole time. Spider-Man would have been like
there with Foggy.
Foggy, yeah, he would have been there with Foggy.
Foggy get life?
Yeah, no, like no one would have been anywhere. So any heroes coming, if Falcon had used his Wakanda powered jet to fly all the way from DC to get by the time he would have got to New York, you know what would happen? He would have been sitting there arguing downstairs with Bucky, talking about, you are not going to be the new Avengers. I am the Avengers. That's what
we live in Riley's death. You would have relived Riley's death over and over again.
Look, all I'm going to say is this. We had a chicken on meth beating people up.
You can't beat that.
I ain't going to say nothing else.
You can't beat that. Chicken on meth. Wait
a second. So the hearings that she was at is in New York? I thought that the hearings would be in DC, right? And she from the Senate?
No, in the beginning, the hearings were in New York. That's where they were.
No, they're in DC.
Why would they be in DC? Why would they be in New York? It has to be in DC.
Yeah, no, I think the hearings were in DC.
I thought the whole time they were in New York.
No, the end they were in New York.
They were only in New York for a short period of time.
Yeah, we weren't in New York for very long. The first part of the movie was DC and Yelena's Gambit at the very beginning, then the DC thing, then they were out to Devil's Tower or whatever in the middle of nowhere. And then after that, there was that whole stretch.
Yeah,
They had
she
that whole stretch where they
flew
were
to
in
New
the
York.
desert, and
Yeah.
then Bucky came, and then they realized that shit was going left, and then they went to New York, but only after they had been in New York for a little bit was there the conflict where the Sentry actually came out. So it was 10 minutes of real world screen time before group therapy. There wasn't enough time for people to show up. I don't have a problem with that. The thing I have the problem with is that Tony Stark died, and he died.
Mm-hmm.
Taskmaster died, and she died. But these people that nobody cared about because they were literally just black smudges on the pavement, everybody had to come back, and there were no consequences. And I guess it had to be that way.
But they weren't killed. It's like we thought that they were killed when they were just vanished. Yes.
I understand all that, but when you're watching the movie, you don't know that they're in a psychodrama. When you're watching a movie, it looks like they've just been very cruelly fucked up, and that made the Void a really dark character. And it was like, oh shit, consequences. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wake up! It was all a bad dream. And it's like, oh,
well, you know, look, had the Void had his way, it could have been very, very bad. And the thing about it is, the Void in the comics, the Void was very, very bad. The Void was a horrific thing. But even worse, even worse was the Sentry. What the Sentry did when the Sentry went left and just adopted the Void, which is something that could possibly be a risk, because the Sentry at one point ripped Thor's brother in half. And that shit was horrific.
And Ares, by the way.
Yeah, Ares ripped Ares straight.
Get a hug, and everyone gets a hug, and then it should
possibly look. I'm okay with the hug.
That would work. Yes,
I'm okay with the hug. I'm okay with the drug abuse, with them dealing with all these different things. I'm like, yo, this dude straight said, yo, I was a meth addict. I'm like, oh shit, so you're not gonna bleep that out. You're just gonna be meth addicts up in here. Got it. Like that was
high on meth as a chicken.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We should keep it moving on to
now the second fantastic, my word, entry into the world of nerdom this week was Andor, and I think I'm just 2 episodes shy of being fully caught up. I just watched the first episode of this most recent release of 3, and it gave me chills. I'm like, Andor, if everything Star Wars isn't as good as Andor moving forward, burn it to the ground, because Andor has set such a tone for that you can actually do great Star Wars writing, that you actually can have some consequential storytelling, that you can have some shit that's about that real Star Wars life. And if it's not on Andor level, burn that shit to the ground, because Andor is putting cases on bitches with how good it is.
So wait, you haven't even gotten up to episode 8 yet, the Gorman Massacre episode?
No, there's a massacre.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Right.
Damn it! Okay, woo! Okay, wow. and here's the thing. When I left off that last episode, I was like, "Hey, yo, man, this is about to be some effed up." When she kissed old dude and said, "Get off the planet," he's like, "But why? Do what the fuck I just told you to do.
Yeah,
just do what the fuck I told you to do. Get off the planet." I'm like, "Yo, it's about
to tell him
bad. It's about to be so bad." But like Andor is just. It's epic Star Wars making. I mean, and this is something Mark Reiner, as a sci-fi writer and fan of sci-fi, my take on it is the creators of this universe and what they are doing. And we're all fans of sci-fi, but this is quite possibly, I think, the first time that Star Wars has leaned so heavy into Star Wars writing and really bringing out some good drama and things like that. When before everything was fantastical and fun, this is like, no, this is some real deep sci-fi shit.
Yeah, it really is. And it makes all the other dumb Star Wars look even more dumb in retrospect, because this is so smartly written and put together and reflecting current events so mercilessly. I mean, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Sometimes I'll wind Tawala up just to get him to describe other Star Wars, because that's more interesting than actually watching the fucking shows. But this, it really does. Tawala's correct. It puts all the others to shame. I mean, I always thought Star Wars got by on sheer generosity and goodwill since 1980, apart from maybe The Mandalorian and Rogue One, but they actually got some people in here and just let them run wild, do what they want. I've read interviews with Tony Gilroy where he said, yeah, they just told me I could do what I wanted, and we need more of that. You can tell when these things are put together by committee, or nobody has the nerve to tell George Lucas, he's got a stupid idea. This is great.
Kathleen Kennedy's
Or
on the way out.
Kathleen
Don't
Kennedy,
worry.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Quaz, I know you are all caught up on Star Wars, Andor, and I have not had a chance to catch you in the hall, but Mo told me, we gotta have Quaz on talk about Andor. What is your take on this?
We haven't talked about Andor season 2 yet, you and I, but I've definitely been talking to Mo. I think the opinion is this first half, while it definitely is a slow burn, even the first season was a slow burn, the payoff is now being seen. Episode 7, specifically 8 and 9. Oh my God. Like Jay-Z once said, it's about to go down. So for you, episode 7, episode 8 is going to be, dude, you're going to have to rewatch it. But there's parts where you're really going to be, it'll feel surreal to you. Like, this is really Star Wars, but the war part of Star Wars is just, this is it. Like, there's no cost that there was. They didn't, shy away from anything on this. So
your mouth's going to be hanging
They
open.
also have the connectivity to Rogue One in the larger Star Wars universe.
That was going to be my point to this also, because this directly ties into Rogue One, and supposedly next week when they end on episode 12, it goes directly into Rogue One. So when they flash forward another year after that last episode, you can literally push play on your stream or whatever, or on your player, and push in Rogue One, and you continue the story. It's the most adult story to me, as far as I'm concerned, in Star Wars since Rogue One and maybe Empire. Everything else, because this show clearly is not meant to sell merchandising. Nobody's selling no freaking Jar Jar freaking dolls. Nobody Darth Maul dolls. This is all about the story. I'm completely in. I really loved it when it hit this mark this past week. It for me, and I won't lie, it's not all been a masterpiece. There've been some that I need a whole episode of the Mon Mothma kid wedding. Probably not. You probably could have. They could have probably edited it out a little bit more on the way to it, but I'm not mad at this point. I'm in now, and I want to see what they have coming up for the last week. I think it's really storytelling at its best, and the acting's top notch. Even if you don't, like you're one of those people where you're Star Wars fans and I got to see lightsabers and all that, this won't be for you. But when that war part hits, especially episode 8, you're gonna be like, damn, I just watched some shit. So, and episode 9 too. Episode 9 is a lot. Wow, it's just like the connectivity, as Mo was saying. There's a lot of stuff with the Senate and all that. There's going to be like the Mon Mothma character, all that stuff. It's very well written.
It was very, very tense. Episode 7, and I love them getting to Yavin and seeing that, and seeing some of the characters already just popping up. I was like, damn, this looks like this was literally shot at the exact same time as Rogue One. The cinematography of it, the all that. I mean, it is a beautiful show to watch. And again, the acting, I'm like, man, like this dude Diego Luna, I'm like watching him from the first season to this, and watching how they took him from just like, thieving nobody to just like this real smart, sharp saboteur. I'm like, wow, man, this is some super character development. Skarsgård character is man, like this dude could run an empire. This fucker is so damn callous and cold. Yes, ma'am.
So what's the payoff after you done watching this?
Now, Liz, for anyone watching, Liz hates Star Wars.
Okay, I'm gonna say that to me the payoff is
Liz always laughs at us when we see something for Star Wars that we're like, man, I didn't like that. Liz was like, I tried to tell you the shit was gonna be whack at the beginning.
So to me, can I just say again, and reiterate, I said before, this is because you're rolling right into Rogue One. If you watch Rogue One, the beginning of basically the rebellion, this is the starts of the Empire, all that. So yes, you go through a lot of that storytelling and building, but the payoff is you rolling right into that main story, which goes into the
that we
original
already know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't have the story before.
But they don't know how it got there, though.
Yeah.
So the payoff is to have a backstory to something we already know.
Yeah.
How it happened.
Gotcha.
Find out how it happened. Leave all that hatred on the dresser, okay?
But
I'm on episode 4. No. I'm watching. I'm just saying the payoff is going
you have to look at it like this,
we know.
You have to look at it from the perspective that when we first were introduced to this story as a whole, we were introduced at the halfway point of a story. and the end point of a story. So it's like to go back to all these things of like, it didn't start with Luke on the farm on Tatooine and Leia on the run. It didn't start there. Like, you know, that you know, so it's like to say, hey, this is episode 4. You're like, wait a minute, episode 4. Then what happened to episode 1, 2, and 3? Which is what everybody's who's ever watched Star Wars were like, what the hell happened? And most of us were left to comic book stories that were fleshing out a lot of this backstory. Anyone
That
who
were
was
better
ever
than all of the
intrigued.
prequels.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Better than The Last Jedi as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm
not.
Everybody wanted to see Thrawn. Everybody wanted to see Cara Jade. Let's not be confused. I'm not saying that the sequels were inherently better. I think they were better than the prequels because I really did not like the prequels. Okay. I will just say that for me, the payoff for Andor is Jeff Bezos's pocket because Ryan is getting drop shipped cases of Jergens by watching this show.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I'm concerned.
I regret nothing. Yeah, I'll send you the pictures.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, baby.
I
regret all tonight, baby. Yeah.
Send those to Matt Gates.
Nah, son.
I love.
So wait, can I just ask real quick because this is the first time I've been on this panel. So Ryan, you like the prequels more than the sequels?
I hate the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I fucking hate it.
Even Force Awakens. Just want to ask. That's the only one I like.
I'd rather go to a Trump rally than fucking watch those movies.
Oh, okay. I'd rather go to a Trump rally than watch Attack of the Clones again. But okay.
Hey man, you do you. It's cool. It's cool, brother.
I just want to know.
I just sell y'all anything.
I think that's a good question about what you get.
Hold on. Mark has a question.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're all talking at once. I think that's a good question from Dr. Liz about what the upshot of this is, since we know Rogue One. But it's like it kind of to me like asking, well, what's the upshot of Where Eagles Dare? Because we know how World War II ends. I think this is self-contained and it's a good espionage story all in its own.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
It's good.
Yeah, very fair. Yeah. Very fair. And I think for those of us who have been holding on to a hope and a prayer that we were going to get something really, really solid and worth our time as adults watching Star Wars, because we watched this as kids. We watched this, through its struggle to find itself with the prequels and the sequels, and we were all like, hey, oh shit, man, kick me in the balls, why don't you? It's tough to be yearning for something, some sliver of hope from your childhood stories, and to see something like Rogue One, which was so like, oh my god, like what, like it was almost shocking for us as kids. I was like, well, that was very adult. And then to see something like The Mandalorian, and it's like, fuck, why can't everything be like this? To see Andor pick up like this with season 2, it's just
That's
satisfying.
a lie. Y'all did not like all of Mandalorian.
I did.
Go back to the notes. Go back to the notes. Y'all did not like all of Mandalorian.
They didn't like Book of Boba Fett.
We did not like
season 1 and 2.
No.
Season 1 and 2.
Pamphlet of Boba Fett. Get it right.
Yeah,
that's what I said. I corrected it to pamphlet. I coined it.
All right.
Shit.
Okay. I said it first, brother.
And wait, listen. Can I just throw something out?
To Rock's statement, I am a historian. These people did not even like Rogue One, so they want a backstory.
No. You guys didn't like Rogue One?
Bullshit.
They don't
I
even
didn't say
like
that
Rogue
shit.
One.
Oh wow!
Stop it!
No,
I didn't say that. That wasn't
no
me.
one has ever said that. I own Rogue One.
I was about to say, y'all didn't like Rogue One. Why are you watching Andor then?
I saw Rogue One with Mo and Tuala.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all liked it.
Why would they even watch Andor if they didn't like Rogue One?
Because they get sucked into watching everything.
No,
they sucked into watching everything, and then they complain
I didn't watch the
when
Acolyte.
it doesn't work out.
I didn't watch Acolyte. So
listen to me. Andor is working out well.
We just on Solo, but we all universally liked Rogue One.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
To me, that's one of the best movies they've done post
Disney movies, yes,
prequel,
Disney Star Wars
right?
movies,
and all that, yeah.
And Mandalorian, we absolutely dug. The only thing that we absolutely universally hated, I think, was possibly the pamphlet of Boba Fett, with the exception of the Mandalorian episode.
I was the only one defending, saying that they're trying to introduce a new crowd into the Star Wars universe.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
And y'all were like, what about
With what?
What about
what?
this? The whole Rogue One, the whole little trilogy.
Why are you just making up shit?
No, I'm not. Go back and listen to the tapes.
I wasn't a super fan of Rogue One. Again, I don't like it when they try to tell stories that are less good than what had already existed in the expanded universe that George Lucas blew up. I would much rather have seen. I mean, you couldn't do Mara Jade and all of that because Luke is too old now. Yeah. But giving us in the sequels, giving us Ben and Darth, whatever he was, and all of that, that was. I would have rather you introduced Mara Jade and just had her with Luke's child or something. I was not here for that.
Well,
Thrawn, seeing Thrawn, I thought was cool in Ahsoka.
Ahsoka,
I thought that was cool. That was fan service that I think made sense. Plus, Ahsoka was not badly done. I didn't like Space Whales, but I know it's part of canon, whatever. Yeah. But it was an enjoyable series to me. I did enjoy Ahsoka. Rogue One, there was a whole lot of back tracing and inventing new things. And he put the flaw in there, on purpose. And now we've got to go to another planet and we've got to do this. And they had this big place, a whole planet, but apparently all of the data was just stored in this one spire instead of turning into a Death Star. Why not just have a Death Star that's just a library of all the Imperial shit? Because apparently Death Stars can go speed of light and move anywhere. You don't even need a fucking shield because you can just move the shit wherever you want.
And I remember that was Tom's argument about the Death Star getting to whatchamacallit. So I think you're misremembering, Liz, that it was actually Tom that was not a fan of Rogue One. You may not remember the argument.
Sure.
They're saying you're broad brushing. Everybody, not everybody.
Yeah, we are all not Tom. Okay.
Right. Rogue One is amazing to me. I love Rogue One. This is where Andor is leading, by the way. By the way, though, too, I'm glad Tom brought that up because Lucas even stated that in his world, in his mind, that's why he probably let go of Legends and all. He's like, in my world, Luke never got married. There was no Mara Jade. He was always anti that. Lucas was never a fan of that. Even though I love the Heir to Timothy Zahn, Heir to the Empire series is amazing. Yeah. That's why we got Thrawn. But Lucas was never going to let that be on screen.
Yes,
so,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Neither with Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, of course. So
no, he spit her out. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Outside of these two magnificent entries into the nerd world, which have kept us going, we've got some more nerdiness that they dropped. Of course, a 6-episode mini series, Tales of the Underworld, which is fair. It's just 6 episodes, really cool. A little bit more about Darth Bane and a little bit more about Asajj Ventress. If anyone's wants to follow their story along from the Clone Wars, just telling you that there was more to their stories. They're cool watches. They're cool 15-minute watches. Next week, actually no, we don't have anything because poor Ironheart. Jesus, I don't know what they're doing with that. It seems to be languishing, and
just drop it all at once like they did with Echo.
I think they are probably.
I believe Ironheart does get the massive drop. But this year, for the rest of this year, we have Marvel Zombies. In October, we have Vision Quest. Now that Vision Quest is moved next year now, so Vision Quest is being pushed back. So this year we just have Marvel Zombies and one more series. And Wonder Man. So we get Wonder Man and Vision Quest this year. Wonder Man and Marvel Zombies this year. Vision Quest next year, and then Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic Four just in July. In July. So we get that. Superman, of course, in July.
Yeah.
Peacemaker coming up soon. Peacemaker. The trailer for Peacemaker looks fucking great. I love that they're including people from the Superman film already. They're like, he's like, hey, no, I'm part of the world. Look, here's Green Lantern. And
I started in the trailer.
So I'm part of the show.
Can I ask really quick too? Because it's first time on the panel. What's everyone's feels on the new? I don't want to derail the conversation too much, but the new trailer for Superman, the new Superman coming out is trash. Is everyone feeling that way? The gun Superman is going to be trash.
I love James Gunn when James Gunn is James Gunning.
Okay.
Superman as an iconic character, and Twala has said this because we've kind of gone down this path, but since it's your first time on the panel,
Yeah.
Twala has said that, the conflict to Superman and da-da-da-da-da, and so, we get that. I don't like a shot of Superman kissing Lois Lane while Brainiac, or the big eyeball, whatever, if it's not Brainiac, is fucking destroying Metropolis in the background. I think it's shitty that Crypto couldn't fly him to the goddamn Fortress of Solitude. He dragged his ass through the goddamn
He was injured. He was hurt. Jacked up and injured, broken bones
in the
and shit.
comics.
Superman
Just
is
like
heavy.
Superman's a genius, Crypto is smarter than a dog. Crypto's not just.
But he's a small.
He's a
super
dog.
He's like
I don't
terrier
have a
size
problem
in
with
this
that.
movie.
And
He's
that
fucking Benji. I don't
they
give
had
a
a
fuck.
whole movie
The
about
suit
that too.
doesn't fit. The guy doesn't have any physicality, and you've got people dancing around him who are, you've got Nathan Fillion smirking, and he's going to be smirking with that shitty bowl haircut through the whole film.
But that's the character.
Guy Gardner. First of all, that bowl cut is a disaster. It doesn't even.
Guy Gardner's a fucking asshole, and it fits it perfectly.
He is an asshole. I don't doubt that. I'm just saying, you're calling this Superman, and it's like Justice League 1.5 with different characters. Mr. Terrific or whatever, he looks okay.
Okay.
He's dead ass straight from the comics.
He looks badass.
No, he is. I mean, not the original comics, but yeah, since recent continuity. No, he looks better than the TV version. Okay?
So the onus is on Gunn to do all that, put all that on his back of the fact that you destroyed the Snyderverse and all that they built. So now you're doing everything at once, and that's what Gunn is doing with this, obviously.
Listen, Peacemaker,
better for
I loved. Peacemaker was amazing. We're in the same universe where he had Gal Gadot. She didn't have any lines, but it was clearly her flying in at the end. You had Aquaman flying in at the end. It was that Aquaman. And wasn't Superman kind of silhouetted?
Yeah, he was in the silhouette in the back because he was like, "Where the hell were you guys?" or whatever.
So
right.
all I'm saying is that he's got a lot to reconcile. And right now, every trailer I've seen has made me less confident that I'm going to enjoy this.
Really?
But I know I'm going to enjoy Peacemaker season 2.
Here's the thing. To Tom's point, his concerns are valid. I'm on the fence. I don't know. I'm gonna check it out, and
we won't know till we see it.
I'm going in with an open mind.
We won't know. Me too.
So,
me too.
I'm sorry. I like.
Are you though?
Yes. I like the last actor as Spider-Man. I mean Superman.
Oh, Cavill.
Yes. I just cannot wrap my head around why we need a new one.
Because they wanted to separate himself from
Because
Spider-Man.
It's a new universe.
For the next 5 films.
Yeah, it's a new universe.
No,
and they're bringing Superman in as a younger character. He's basically graduated from being Superboy. He's Superman
now.
now.
Look like the person. I mean, when
he's young.
But this is the problem when you decide to recast and redo and do whatever. And this is where I think that Marvel does a decent job, where they move the story forward instead of recasting the same person over and over again with the same main character, because people get attached. I got attached. Why couldn't we just do it? I mean, I know you don't like the additional universes, but to me, you get so attached. Now, some of these people I don't care about, but I felt like he was such a good, like, Batman, you can redo him over and over again because I'm still not satisfied with any of them. But I think that Superman, I was so satisfied with him.
He's old.
You're not wrong.
Get it.
But you're not wrong. Here's the problem with Henry Cavill, and unfortunately the problem with DC. DC did a Justice League without having the individual origin movies to bring them together. So we had a Justice League movie that we really couldn't care about because we didn't understand all the characters who fed into the Justice League. Henry Cavill as Superman was fine, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in his mid-40s at this point, and you can't realistically cast him for the next 4 or 5 movies. Me personally, I wanted to see Superman, Henry Cavill, and not only Ben Affleck, but also Dwayne Johnson as what's his name?
Black Adam.
Yeah, Black Adam.
That I wanted.
But
Go ahead. I was just gonna say that the problem too is that those movies underperformed. Let's just be honest. It's always gonna come down to business. So they needed a fresh coat of paint. Marvel's was the ahead, making all the money. They weren't making money. The Justice League movie failed badly.
But that's not because, I don't think it's because of the acting. It's because of the writing.
But it was a story. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they didn't make money
Wonder
on it.
Woman was a disaster on all fronts.
84.
The first one?
Not the
84. 84.
The Wonder Woman sequel.
Oh, 84. Yeah, 84 was trash.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Listen, the thing I heard that actually I had to think about it when it was said. Gal Gadot is not a great actor.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
She was.
No shit.
But I'm saying, you can't hang the future if you're not satisfied with two of the big three in the Trinity. Nobody had a problem with Cavill. People had problems with Affleck. People had problems with Gadot. They might not have had problems with Gadot if 84 hadn't been such a fucking disaster.
84 was trash.
Because
84 was trash.
In the first movie, she was stranger in a strange land, so she didn't have to act so much. She was discovering who she wasn't. Right. So you didn't notice it as much. But in 84, it was like, wow, she's pretty horrible. And Pedro Pascal was not any better. And neither was Kristen Wiig.
It was a bad story.
It was a nightmare. And then Aquaman, my God. Jason Momoa, that sequel, oof.
Yeah. Although the first one, that's the only one that cracked $1 billion in the DC universe. So that's why they had to cut ties.
It cracked $1 billion because of, believe it or not, female fans.
Yeah,
female fans wanted to see Jason Momoa. They didn't give a shit about Aquaman, none of that. They didn't want to see none of that.
And that's the thing too, Tawala. If you want to talk about female fans, Henry Cavill is great to look at.
Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with Henry. I thought Henry Cavill, as far as he looked like Superman. But to me, he's a little too buff to be Clark Kent, and that's the problem. He wasn't a good Clark Kent. He was a terrible Clark Kent. I thought Ben Affleck was a great played out older Bruce Wayne, but I thought he was a great violent Batman. I thought he was one of the first Batman to give us like some badass action where I'm like, I can actually fuck you up.
I can see him playing an old Batman, but him as the current Batman, I didn't like.
Yeah, that would have been a stretch.
No, but I mean, you couldn't redo it. They had gone as far as they could with the actors that they had. Unfortunately, Henry Cavill, with where they're trying to go right now, because they're trying to make movies for DC for the next 10, 15, 20 years. You can't start with someone who's already 45, damn near 50 years old as Superman.
This is their version of the Marvel universe.
I hear you, but the problem, it still just goes back to, it's not just that they change in the characters, it's how they're doing it. You had Gal Gadot in the last what is it? Shazam.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was the point of giving me her?
No, but there's
if she's no longer going to be her.
But understand, they just released that movie because they had to.
I understand all of that, but I'm saying that this is the reason why I think I have a problem with casting.
I promise you, I promise you, if the new Wonder Woman that Gunn comes out with is really good, you're not gonna miss Gal Gadot, especially if she's a good actor. I bet money you won't miss Gal Gadot
at all. I am wondering.
No one is missing that underdeveloped boy ass that she has as Wonder Woman. That boy body that she has.
Wait. No, I have to save them. No
one is missing Gal Gadot's pale ass Wonder Woman.
I love the first Wonder Woman. I really do. I love the first Wonder Woman, but the second one,
I sit there and I watch the first one over and over again.
Yeah, the first Wonder Woman was awesome.
Do you all remember John Carter of Mars?
Yes.
Oh, yes. That brunette would have been a kick-ass fucking Wonder Woman.
Lynn Collins.
I agree.
She would have been
She was in the Wolverine movie too, right?
She's way too old now. But if they had done that movie, if they were trying to cast the DC universe, she would have been my pick for Wonder Woman. She was phenomenal.
I'm with you on that. And she's a better actress.
Yeah.
She had the body.
hopefully the Wonder Woman we get this time around is pitch perfect. They've already seen what was going to do it. Yeah, I Gunn is a great casting. He's going to good with casting.
I actually think that they would have been. I know that Superman is the character that we have to build everything around. I get that. But I think that you probably would have had a better idea if we would have done something with some other characters and then give us further and further away from the new casting. So then it wouldn't feel like we just watched Black Adam. And we see the loudest in the crowd is when Superman shows up at the end.
To be fair, they tried the same cast with the Flash, but that failed again. So again, monetarily,
the Flash was a terrible movie.
They sure was. But my point is, they tried what you're saying to keep the cast going. The Flash again underperformed. So,
yeah, but you had two problems: terrible movie and terrible person that's dealing with
sexual. Correct.
But again, my point is, do you keep riding with the same thing, getting the same result again and again, or you just shelve it and go, no, we're just going new slate?
I don't know if anybody was paying attention, but Barack literally kind of addressed what she was saying by saying that he could go 10 to 15 years without any movies featuring Superman or Batman to give it time to rest. Now, to Quasi's point, you can't say the number one hero, even though you've rebooted him 4 times cinematically and he's had 17 fucking TV shows. You can't say that you're going to leave this guy out of your movie continuity. I just think
no, you can't.
You cast a Clark Kent in this movie, and maybe that's the story James Gunn wants to tell.
Yeah.
But if you cast Clark Kent and you put him in an outfit and he can't be Superman, all we've seen is Superman shielding a girl from some rocks and getting the shit beat out of him by a Bizarro clone. Yep. That's all we've seen. And
this is my last take, and I'm gonna shut up on this. I feel the same way, and Mo said it a long time ago. How many times do I have to hear the same story about Spider-Man's origin? The same Uncle Doc. No, I said what I said. Spider-Man. And this is how I feel about Superman. This is how I feel about Batman. I am sick and tired of the same little you in the farm.
But they're not doing the origin in this.
Yeah, we're not doing the origin.
My point is if we're getting the same feel again, granted, you may not take me back to the farm, but you're giving me the same feel again.
I mean, but wait, give me the farm. But
it's not the Krypton blows up. He comes in the ship. It's not that story.
But his parents,
it's not that. They've already said
it's not alive, right?
What's that?
I think both his parents are alive.
Yeah, I mean,
no, both his parents are alive. But to your point, it's not the whole Krypton blows up. He gets sent in the ship.
Right.
They're not doing that.
It's like already Batman.
It's kind of like the take on the Batman when the Batman was already established. It's that they didn't do the whole Wayne thing. The parents get murdered.
Henry Cavill's gone. I'm sorry, Liz.
Yeah, and these stories that we're about to get right now are literally James Gunn is jumping right into a universe where he has said straight up, everyone knows all of the characters that I'm introducing. None of these stories are origin stories because I don't like origin stories. I like stories where I assume everyone knows who Superman is, right? Cool. So let me tell a story that no one has ever told about Superman and try to help viewers watch him try to embrace his humanity. And that's something that that I'm curious to see. I'm hoping that he really does pull a lot from the All-Star Superman story, which was one of the best written story. That's his source material. His source material for this is All-Star Superman. So that's where he's going, Tom.
Well, I hear you. But what I'm not seeing, I mean,
I got
the clear problem with All-Star Superman is that he dies in the end.
Trailers,
so that's not.
I know, but I'm saying the story.
He's informed by it.
Yeah, he's informed by it. Yeah,
but he's not tracking it. I love Millar.
Yeah.
I thought that, I liked that story. I liked where he went. I liked Lex Luthor's little super niece and all that stuff. I liked the Kryptonians that escaped and their blood, their bones turned to kryptonite and killed. All of it. Lois Lane getting powers. I loved that series. I don't see the hero in this Superman. That All-Star Superman was a super duper amped up Superman. Yeah. This guy is whack.
We're gonna see. We're gonna have to see. We got to see. We don't know.
I do know. You know why?
Okay. No, stop.
Crypto dragged him through the arc.
Okay, that's just ridiculous.
That's movie by listen, when I want my dogs to come, I whistle for my dogs.
I understand.
In fact, I got a whistle, and when my dogs don't come, they don't get mad.
All-Star Superman didn't get his ass kicked. All-Star Superman was pushing a weight.
I'm talking about the.
You've already made up your mind about this movie. I haven't even seen the movie yet.
It's not going to be directly the comics, you know. Like
no, I know. I've seen 7 trailers. I'm not getting more enthusiastic.
There's been 2 trailers.
I may be proven wrong when I see it. Of course, I'm going to see it. But I'm just saying, I'm not enthusiastic about it.
But wait, Tom, to your point, I'm glad you mentioned the Superman doesn't die. You know, like he dies, and also Superman. I don't want to ever see again, please God. But I know they're probably going to eventually do it. No more Doomsday. Please don't kill Superman.
It's going to happen. Look, we're already in the trailer.
They just leave that arc alone. I'm good on this.
In the trailer, we're getting the same thing that happened in the last Henry Cavill when everybody's throwing stuff at him. Booze. I don't want to see the same stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Well, you're not going to see the same stuff. It's a different, complete
That's
story.
the same scene from the
One
last
scene.
movie.
You love the scene in Wonder Woman when they're at a bar. They stole that from fucking Captain America. It's the same fucking scene.
And to be fair, this
about
they cut the trailer. It's not necessarily a
Same
reflection of the whole
movie.
movie.
Oh,
It's the same
stop.
character.
No,
It's the same character.
Same character, yes, but it's a different movie, different story.
Yeah, it's
We'll see.
It's a different story.
Liz,
I'm pro crypto. I think putting crypto in was brilliant.
I'm pro crypto also. I'm a dog fan. I got dogs. I want to see what
Who watched the Titans show? Crypto was great in Titans too.
Okay, well, you sound like Michael Vick, Tom. Okay.
They weren't gonna make Pitbull crypto, dog. You know they weren't.
It doesn't have to be a Pitbull, like a Labrador.
What was it gonna be? Pitbull crypto?
I'm not that petty.
I
am not that petty.
He could be a sporting dog. He could be a retriever. He could be a Labrador. I mean, I'm just saying.
Illinois crypto kill him. Crypto going at the Nexus ripping up people.
I look like last year. Crypto. He's talking a whale.
Legs off and shit. Although that would be fun. That would be fun to watch. You got a Belgian Illinois crypto just ripping people to shreds. Crypto, go get them all. Kill Lex Luthor. Movie
That's
over.
That's who Cavill would have had. Cavill would have had a boss ass crypto. Crypto fucking people up.
Couldn't he stuck in a well? What?
I said fucking people up.
I heard that, Ryan. That was funny.
I can't.
I mean, I'll be seated, and I'll be begrudgingly seated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enthusiastically seated. I want to see how it goes. I just wanted. I'm sorry if I derailed this conversation too much. I'm gonna have to.
No. I absolutely. I absolutely love it because that's where we needed to go.
That was hilarious, though.
Rob says that we don't need to see a trailer. We still don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to joke. I appreciate it, y'all. I appreciated you guys having me on this. This was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Man, look, we
Nice
will have
meeting
you back, Brother Quasi. We will have you back.
All right, appreciate y'all.
Yes, indeed.
Peace.
I know we are well past our hour point. So so we got to wrap it up.
It is Barack is right. What? It is a catch-22. It is a catch-22 because see, DC has cornered themselves into a really terrible space. Where all they have to do is keep rebooting the same characters over and over and over.
Now to that point though, and Tom hit this, is that the entire studio is built off of the backs of arguably the most recognizable character in the world. Now, and if as a studio, you literally have to get this right. They are trusting James Gunn to get it right. If they do not, and this is something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on, is news that Warner Brothers and Discovery may now be splitting. Now Warner Brothers and Discovery are like, oh, this partnership ain't really working. That's something that we need to keep an eye on, because They have not made a dime since they've merged and tried to bring all these properties together. They're actually failing horrifically. So everyone, not just the fans, but everyone involved needs for these stories to be good. Me personally, I think it's good for nerddom if we are able to get some good stuff. If James Gunn's ever able to knock this out the park and satisfy the harshest critics like Tom out the gate, right? If he's able to bring that around, then this guy is forever cemented in nerd legacy as one of the greatest. And time will tell. We have, of course, Fantastic Four coming up. We've got some other shit coming up. So, you know,
Andor
we shall be back. Andor season finale. We got a lot. Mark, I appreciate you joining us today, good sir.
Thank you.
Mo had to run out. I don't know where he went. Maybe the dogs are out acting crazy over there. But so we will not have a goodbye for Mo. So Ryan, take us out, good sir. Oh, shit. Anthony.
I'm gonna go with power doesn't panic.
Tom.
Where is my Kryptonian dog shelter suit?
Dog shelter.
Dog shelter suit. Dr. Liz.
Good night, everyone.
And Mark, you shall have the final word, good sir.
I'll see you at work, Tuala.
Excelsior.